Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I am so excited to be here with you all. So excited you're all here with me today. And I'm just plain excited. My daughter-in-law has been in labor. And so we are expecting our precious little Ava any day now. So I just come with that excitement here today. And I want to also thank you, Robert. I mean, that was fun. Yeah? Okay, so, and Eric, I just want to take a minute to thank a few people. And if I miss anybody, I apologize up front. I give thanks to Eric, who has helped me with the AV, and my precious husband here, Mark, who also has helped with the AV. And as I kept sending slides to Eric over the week, and Mark was helping me do that, I kept thinking, you know, a picture says 1,000 words. And boy, I said to Eric, I must have a lot to say. So, and then Mara for being in prayer and consciousness, and everybody who takes the time to set up, and you for being here today, Eileen. This was her first day doing this. Whoa. And so I think you've got a calling. And just everybody who takes time to make this service possible and this gathering, all of us, possible week after week. So thank you. All right, so come and sit a while. Let peace be in your heart. Learn to love the quiet of eventide, the quiet of the mountaintop, the quiet of dim-lit churches. All things that are sweet and lovely and still, your soul responds to as never before. It is as I choose, for then you hear my voice. Then can I reach the innermost paths of your being and show you my way and direct your steps. Oh, my beloved, seek every opportunity to be with me. Then shall the world and its bitter strife and loud clamor have no effect upon you. For you shall be abiding in the secret place of the Most High and learning the secrets of the sanctuary of your soul. So I thought that was a good reading to start with today. That's from Quiet Talks with the Master by Eva Bell Werber. And our topic this month is freedom. And the topic today is the Sabbath will set you free. How to find peace and joy in a fast-paced world. You know, it seems like just yesterday we were celebrating Christmas. And tomorrow, Mark and I are celebrating 35 years of married life. Yeah. And it seems like just yesterday we were getting married and going to Hawaii on our honeymoon. So, you know, millennia ago, the tradition and spiritual practice of Sabbath created an oasis of sacred time within a life of unceasing labor. In today's world, with its relentless emphasis on success and productivity, we have lost the necessary rhythm of life, the balance between work and rest. Constantly striving, we feel exhausted and deprived in the midst of great abundance. We long for time with friends and family. We long for a moment to ourselves, a moment to just breathe. We have allowed ourselves to be seduced, I believe, by the promise of more. More money, more recognition, more influence, more possessions, more information, more love, more security. We have traded time for money. In fact, the Catechism is quite specific. Time is money. Now, I think that in this atmosphere, I ask what happens to the time, the care, the attention that is absolutely necessary to foster those human characteristics of connecting, listening, really listening and being present with one another, of being wise and compassionate, kind, courageous. I think they are traded away sometimes desperately, sometimes enthusiastically in the cathedral of the free and unrestricted marketplace. It is the temple to which we are all drawn to worship, bringing our offering of time and taking away the blessings of money. Now, the point is not that money is bad, because money is God energy also. And money allows us to participate in the energy of exchange, purchasing goods and services that we cannot provide for ourselves. Sometimes it allows us even to do for others. But how much time and energy should we trade for it? And so I ask all of us, and as I was preparing the last few months thinking, okay, what do I want to say about this? What do I want to share with you? Because for those of you who don't know me, I am a practitioner, and I've been practicing and learning the science of mind principles now for 36 years. And I've been a practitioner for almost 20. And I say, thank God I have eternity, because maybe I'll get it eventually. And I think it is all about practice. So as I'm speaking to you today, I'm also really speaking to myself, and I really ask myself, okay, Cindy, what do you need to tell yourself? And that's really what I'm sharing with you. So the questions that I'm asking us is, have you experienced a faster pace over the years? I certainly have. I mean, our cars are faster, our phones reach farther, the internet connects us across the world in seconds, our appliances are more efficient, our police have more weaponry, our medicines are more powerful, our interstate highways are bigger and reach farther, even though our commutes don't seem to be shorter. Our buildings are safer, more modern, and temperature controlled. We have, in short, everything we ever wanted. Or do we? Gandhi says there is more to life than merely increasing its speed. The corrosive pressure of frantic overactivity can nonetheless become a violent enterprise and cause suffering for ourselves and others. A successful life, has caused us to make war on our bodies. I know of so many, working as a nurse in the healthcare profession, I know people who don't sleep, I know people who don't eat, I know people that when they do eat, it is fast food and not very nutritious. So we make war on our bodies, pushing them beyond their means often. We make war on our children because we're so busy moving from here to there that we cannot find enough time to be with them when they're hurt or afraid, or they really need our presence for us to just really listen and understand. We make war on our spirit because we're too preoccupied to listen to the quiet voices that seek to nourish and refresh us. We kind of block them out sometimes with our overactivity. We make war on our communities because we are fearfully protecting what we have and do not feel safe enough to be generous and kind. War on our Mother Earth because we do not take the time to place our feet on the ground to taste her blessings and give thanks and to give back for all that she has given us. Thomas Merton wrote, "There is a pervasive form of contemporary violence, and that is activism and overwork. The rush and pressure of modern life are a form, perhaps the most common form of its innate violence. To allow oneself to be carried away by a multitude of conflicting concerns, to surrender to too many demands, to commit oneself to too many projects, to want to help everyone and everything, is to succumb to violence. The frenzy of our activism neutralizes our work for peace. It destroys our own inner capacity for peace and joy. It destroys the fruitfulness of our own work because it kills the root of our inner wisdom, which makes work fruitful." Within the mosaic of modern life is the universal refrain, "I am so busy." Now, I've observed that within myself at times. I've observed it in others of all walks of life and all professions. whether they work from home or for a corporation, or even if they're retired. I've heard this from people who are retired and may seem to have all this time available to them. So up here is the Chinese pictograph for busy. And it's composed, I found this really interesting, it's composed of two characters, heart and killing. It literally means to lose heart. So I think sometimes in our busyness, in our frantic activity from day to day, that we lose that heart connection, that connection to our innermost self. Question number 2. Have you experienced longer work hours over the years? Or if you're retired, do you find yourself busier than ever? When I started my profession as a registered nurse in the neonatal intensive care unit over 35 years ago, I took care of 2 babies at most and worked 8-hour shifts. That soon expanded to 10-hour shifts, that evolved to 12-hour shifts, taking care of 4 to 5 babies that required significant skilled care. In the 1950s, the National Dialogue, and that's when I was born, the National Dialogue was preoccupied with how we could use our leisure time. Experts confidently predicted that thanks to the efficiency of automation and the proliferation of near miraculous time and labor-saving devices, we would all be working 30, maybe 20 hours a week. What would we do with all that leisure time? That was the conversation. What happened instead? We traded all that leisure time in exchange for more work and greater pay so that we could afford to buy larger and more products. In 1947, I found this to be kind of interesting, the average American adult spent $6,500 on material possessions, goods, and services. Today, and this is adjusted for inflation, we spend an average of over $14,000 per adult. So it's more than doubled. So when we are not using our time to get money, we are using our time to spend money, it seems. And compared to Europeans, Americans spend 3 to 4 times as many hours per year shopping. So when we're doing all of this, it takes us away. It takes us away from being with our spirit. It takes us away from being with our loved ones. It takes us away from cultivating those human connections and qualities that I mentioned earlier. I even hear people say that they are too busy to pray. So, people, too busy to pray is too busy. The third question, have you experienced emptiness at the heart of a busy and productive life? When we are tired from overwork, when we work 50 or 60 hours a week, how can we participate in family and civic life? In the busyness of working, we institutionalize our families, putting our children in daycare centers, our elders in assisted living programs. We lose that human connection. We become unaware of the spiritual thread that connects us all. A 1995 study showed that adolescents who regularly spent time with their families were less likely to become users of drugs and alcohol. And as a nurse, and as a mother, and now as a grandmother, I have actually observed that in my own personal experiences. So in the trance of overwork, we take everything for granted, I believe. We consume people, things, information. We do not have time to savor this life, nor to care deeply and gently for ourselves, our loved ones, or our world. Our impulse, born of weariness, is to rush headlong toward doing anything that will make the problems go away. And in the soil of the quick fix is the seed of a new problem. And why is that? Because a lot of times we fail to listen to that quiet wisdom that is available. So we have to make time to think. We have to make time to listen. And without rest, we respond from a survival mode where everything we meet has a terrifying prominence. You know, when you drive a motorcycle at high speed, even the smallest pebble and the road can be a deadly threat. So the problem is not simply that we work too much. The problem is that we are working maybe for the wrong reward. And how have we allowed this to happen as a culture, as a society? I suggest that it might be this. We have forgotten the Sabbath. We have forgotten the Sabbath. The truth must be told. With all the money in the world and no time, we have nothing at all. True prosperity is that balance of being and doing, giving and receiving. So what if we were to expand our definition of wealth to include those things that grow only in time? Time to walk in the park, time to take a nap, time to play with children, time to really listen and understand one another, time to really look and gaze upon our loved ones, to read a good book, to dance, to put our hands in the garden, to cook nutritious meals, to paint, to sing, to meditate, to keep a journal. These lions were taking a nap in the middle of the afternoon. This tiger taking a bath, taking the time to take a bath. This is my grandson. And I can't remember who was looking at him, and this is I can't remember who was looking at Jake there, but they were taking that moment to really look at each other and connect. This is my dog Peaches, who once again so patiently listened to me while I practiced what I wanted to say to all of you. And my daughter-in-law, my daughter, and their babies, connecting, taking that time to connect. So in the Tao Te Ching, it says, if a country is governed wisely, people enjoy their food, take pleasure in being with their families, spend weekends working in their gardens, delight in the doings of the neighborhood. When is the last time you really had a conversation with your neighbor? Really listen to how your neighbor was doing. In Sabbath time, we taste the fruit of our labor and prepare the seeds of the week to come. We allow our souls to catch up with us. If we are too busy, if we do not rest, we miss this rhythm. God does not want us to be exhausted. God wants us to be happy. Our lives are richer when we take time to savor each season, each experience, each encounter. Time to harmonize with what is. Our willingness to rest depends on what we believe we will find there. At rest, we come face to face with the essence of life. If we believe life is fundamentally good, we will seek out rest as a taste of that goodness. If we believe life is fundamentally bad or flawed, we will be reluctant to quiet ourselves, afraid of meeting the darkness that resides in things out there or maybe in here. So in the Bible it says to remember the Sabbath. And this means remember that everything you have received is a blessing. And I just loved what you read too. Remember to delight in your life, in the fruits of your labor. Remember to stop and offer thanks for the wonder of it all. Be in the awe of it all. Begin the Sabbath by simply saying, today I am going to pamper my soul. Sabbath, like Eileen read, creates a marker for ourselves. So if we're lost, we can find our way back to center. There was a day when I was growing up that things were closed on Sundays, and some of my most precious memories are time spent at the dinner table with my aunts and grandmothers and my family. And I still cherish those times at my mom's house with my family, where we eat and laugh and talk and just take time to be. Sabbath honors the necessary wisdom of dormancy. If certain plant species, for example, do not lie dormant in the winter, they will not bear fruit in the spring. And if this continues, the plant eventually dies and the species eventually becomes extinct. So if dormancy continues to be prevented, it produces confusion and erosion of the life force. If we fail to honor the Sabbath in some way, illness or injury becomes our Sabbath. In Sabbath time, we remember to celebrate what is beautiful and sacred. We light candles. We sing songs. We tell stories. We eat, nap, spend time with our loved ones. It is a time to be nourished and refreshed. It is not the time to catch up around the house because we've been at the office all week, or to shop until you drop. Sabbath is time for sacred rest. And it may be a holy day, the seventh day of the week, as in the Jewish tradition, or the first day of the week, as for Christians. You know, I was talking with one of my patients this week and trying to schedule some appointments for her, and her husband are Orthodox Jew, and she was adamant about not scheduling anything from sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday. And I found it so refreshing. And you know what? Her appointment still got scheduled. But Sabbath time may also be an afternoon. It may be a Sabbath hour, a Sabbath practice, a Sabbath walk. Indeed, anything that preserves a visceral experience of life-giving nourishment and rest. We do not stop because the work is done. We stop because it is time to stop. So in your bulletin, I have included a list of suggested Sabbath practices, and this is actually from Wayne Mueller. If you do not already have a current Sabbath practice, I encourage you to play with this list. Maybe choose one a week to experience. Just some ideas. And you might want to start with a small step. You might want to do a Sabbath hour. Then maybe expand that to a Sabbath afternoon. Then maybe expand that to a Sabbath day. Sabbath time is not spiritually superior to our work. That's the other thing I want to share with you. The practice is rather to find that balance point at which, having rested, we do our work with greater ease and joy and bring healing and delight to our endeavors, to ourselves and to others. You know, even in monasteries, they cook and clean, build and repair, garden and sweep. But there is a time to sweep, and there is a time to put down the broom and rest. Periodically, I do a silent retreat. And one year I did a 5-day silent retreat, and I went to Shambhala, which is the Buddhist community outside of Red Feather Lakes. And everyone in that community is expected to do rota, or some kind of daily task that contributes to the community. So even though I spent a majority of my time hiking up to the stupa, praying, meditating, journaling, writing, drawing, every day I did something for that community. One day I cleaned bathrooms. One day I filled ink bottles for a class that they were going to have. Another day I worked in the organic garden. Another day I worked in the kitchen. And you know, service is really an amazing way to serve God. In our service, we can know, we can experience, and we can serve God and one another. So I think it's really important. Our work and service is fruitful only when we quiet ourselves enough to hear the miraculous resilience and strength present among those that suffer, patient enough to see the light that shines in the midst of darkness sometimes. For the light always overcomes the dark. Thus, Sabbath is not only for ourselves. Rested and refreshed, we more generously serve all those who need our care. The human spirit is naturally generous, and the instant that we are filled, our first impulse is to be kind and generous and to give something away. To serve from a place of fullness is the greatest gift of all. The world aches for the generosity of a well-rested people. So I leave you with this acronym for the Sabbath. Remember to be still in spirit. Remember to be in awe of God and all that God is. Be and breathe. Balance. Practice that balance of being, doing, giving, receiving. Accept what is. Allow the life force to guide you. Allow that divine center to fill you. Treat and give thanks. For those of you who don't know what treat might be, that's our term for spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer. So pray and give thanks. Treat and give thanks. And harmonize with all that is. Let us pray.